Part 46. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 451. A crushing victory without any suspense. There are very few people who are qualified to observe this battle. The lowest authority is Su Qingfeng's level. Under the same conditions, little Huo Tianwang had no chance and was crushed from start to finish. When fighting Shura in close combat, he could still struggle with his marksmanship. Once Shura takes out his shield, King Xiao Huo will be in a deadlock. When the distance between the two sides is reached, it will be Shura's moment of dominance. To distance yourself from a mage, especially a mage of the strongest seed level, is to seek death. Soon, the dust settled. The crowd watching the battle was whispering to each other and talking a lot. In terms of combat power alone, he should already have God of War level combat power. God of War? Are you looking down on Shura? How long has it been? Even for the most powerful seeds, this terrifying growth rate is a bit too astonishing. Everyone did not discuss this battle for too long. First, the number of viewers was not large. Secondly, everyone is a top expert with extremely sharp eyesight, and they can see almost the same things. The key is, Huo Tianyi and Shura obviously have some hidden cards. In the end, the battle at the king level was won by Shadow with a score of 4:1. After coming down from the competition arena, Ye Bai wiped away a handful of sweat. He is not as relaxed as he looks. During the close combat, Huo Tianyi put great pressure on him. Huo Tianyi, who started practicing spearmanship again, made rapid progress in his marksmanship, and there was a vague feeling of breakthrough. Whether it's Madman Huo or Huo Tianyi, their biggest characteristic is that they are unstoppable. They want to be the first, they want to be the best in the world. If they cannot reach the top spot in the world on a certain track, they will immediately change direction. At that time, King Huo Tian was not as good as Lan Bangxian in sword practice, and he was not as good as Lao Ju in sword practice, so he abandoned the sword and only relied on his fists. From then on, Huo Tianwang became famous. Because only in this way can they maximize their own advantages. The same is true for Huo Tianyi. After specializing in marksmanship, his strength will reach new breakthroughs until he becomes the real number one in the world. This is the end of the martial arts contest. The warriors, warrior generals, and warrior kings are all dominated by the shadows. Cumulatively, the shadows have taken away 46% of the wool. There are still 2 games of War God level and Tongtian War God level that have not been played. Calculated in this way, this shadow competition will definitely make a profit without losing any money. The battle at the God of War level is about to begin. For reasons of confidentiality, no one else is allowed to watch the battle except for the contestants and the war god Wang surnamed Tongtian who presides over the competition. The entire competition ground instantly became deserted. The Nightmare Legion, Xuemeng, Ying 1, Ying 2, Female, Ying 3, Su Qingfeng. Shadow Outbound Personnel, Shadow 99, Shadow 13, Shadow Second Master, Shadow 4, Shura. Of course, Su Qingfeng didn't know that he was facing Shura. In the battle list that Su Qingfeng got, the name written on his opponent was Shadow 10. Don't waste time, let's get started. The Tongtian war god who presided over the competition was also named Wang. He is not tall and has white hair. He looks capable, and not angry. Next to Wang Tianwang, stood a young man in black with a foul face. He came in through the back door, and the only spectator in these 5 competitions was Huo Tianyi. While Wang Tianwang was holding up the competition arena, he looked at Huo Tianyi and said respectfully, "Master. I am not your master." Huo Tianyi snorted coldly, not understanding the other party's favor. Wang Tianwang didn't say much. His master's character is known to all the world. In a battle at the God of War level, there is no need to shout to start. Both parties are also old acquaintances, so they can say hello and exchange a few words. The first arena match. Opposite Shui Meng, a black shadow shivered. The lowly with dark circles under her eyes looked sad. If I had known that Ying Jiju was going to fight you, I wouldn't have come back to fight. Before the shadow was rolled in, her ranking fluctuated, and she once fell out of the God of War. Thanks to her efforts, she finally got her own seat. Then, a piece of great news came. The organization was very optimistic about her and especially rewarded her for playing against Shui Meng. Shadow 99, can I say dirty words? So, she stood here. Is it okay to surrender? Isn't it possible? Oh. Shadow 99 wants to cry but has no tears. She originally thought that her match would be the quickest to determine the outcome. I never expected that someone could be faster than Shui Meng. The third competition field. The level 1 Ying Iryi is facing off against a level 989 bad woman. The badass woman with full strength said with a ferocious smile. Bad thing, I have to beat you until you call me mother today. The second Master Ying dismissed the threat from the bad woman. When I beat you, fourth master will give me extra lessons. Then I will be a better person than you, and I will be the one who survives. Fart. You pig-brained person, if you follow the fourth master's example, you will look more like a monster than we did before. The two had a quarrel before they started fighting. After the quarrel, the bad woman felt that verbal violence was not enough and she needed some practical actions. How can I lose when I fight level 1 at level 989? Even the most powerful seed has no chance of winning against a level 989 bad woman at level 1. This is what a bad woman thinks. Standing opposite her was the second Master Ying, dressed in casual clothes, with his hands in his pockets, looking particularly comfortable. He didn't take her level 989 powerhouse seriously at all. In an instant, a shadow enveloped the entire competition ground. The battlefield created by the God of War began to shake crazily, and it seemed that it could not hold up. Bad woman, get serious. She wanted to take this opportunity to teach the stinky man a lesson. Faced with the terrifying, extremely depressing, and suffocating shadow, Ying Iryi remained calm and unhurried. Baby. The sissy voice echoed in front of the shadow, giving people goosebumps all over their bodies. A sneer formed on the corner of Mr. Ying's lips and he asked kindly. Tell me. The moment she heard these three words, the bad woman's pupils shrank, and countless shadows rushed forward, trying to tear second Master Ying's mouth apart. But, it's too late. Second Master Ying had already spoken the last few words. Do you have nightmares? Wow! The cry of a strong man resounded throughout the competition field. The shadow receded, and the bad woman fell to the ground, feeling weak and crying loudly. Paired with her unique rough voice, the style of painting looks particularly weird. Second Master Ying walked to the battlefield, squatted down, and comforted the bad woman. Don't cry, don't cry. Nightmares, all nightmares. We are still alive and well. You forgot, the one who promised us. This time, the second Master Ying wins. After a while, the bad woman who recovered from the nightmare wiped her nose on Master Ying's pants and asked with sobs. Can you help me clear the Wanwu Pavilion shopping cart? Then you'd better die. Bad thing, I will take you with me even if I die. Bounce. The rebound is invalid. The rebound of Juyi card. The life renewal card of the Shura card. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 452. The second Master Ying defeated the bad woman. Ying Jiju withdrew his gaze, and then a white light flashed through. She was stunned. It was like having a dream, and I still didn't dare to move even after waking up. Shui Meng did not take advantage of others' danger. No matter how he fights, the result is the same for him. In this way, Ying Jeju will feel no pain and no need to be frightened. Yawn. The little loli walked around outside the competition venue with dark circles under her eyes. Come all come. Take a good look at how other people fight. The competition between Shadow 1 and Shadow 13 was more like a joke. The weak woman Ying Yi pointed at Zhao Ziyan and taught him from time to time. Zhao Ziyan's understanding and strength are top-notch, improving at a speed visible to the naked eye. Compared with the two of them, the battle between Shadow 3 and Shadow 4 was much more boring. Shadow 4 took out a book, and every time he turned a page, a powerful forbidden spell would be released, and the entire competition arena was shaking crazily. In the Shadow, he is the top human race strongman. A certain powerful person once commented that if Shadow 4 did not die, there would be hope for the King of Heaven. He is stuck here because the upper limit of the Shadow can only go up to this point and cannot be exceeded. Facing the menacing offensive, Ying San's response was simple. A slap flew away. No matter what kind of attack comes, Ying San will be slapped away easily. Ying San hasn't finished the battle yet because he's waiting. After the others decide the outcome, Ying San can decide how much water he wants to put in. You know, this martial arts competition will be recorded in the annals of history as an important event in the history of the human race. If the Shadow loses by a big score, when a certain Shadow 9 returns, he will definitely find someone to settle the score. As traitors, Ying 1, 2, and 3 naturally have no good fruits to eat. Ying Jeju yawned, walked to the last competition arena, and was stunned. Hey, why is it dark here? In front of her was a large mass of black fog, making it impossible to see clearly. Xue Meng, who was following her, explained. Su Qingfeng requested it on his own initiative. He has recently developed a secret weapon and must keep it strictly confidential. Oh. Loli replied listlessly. She suddenly thought of something and turned around and asked. Tell me, how many Su Qingfeng can I hit? Xue Meng? Little sister, you are only level 900. It would be too much to compete with Lao Su, who is level 980. There's still a gap of 90 levels. Xue Meng said tentatively. About 3/10,000ths of Su Qingfeng. It was the first time for Xue Meng to use Su Qingfeng as a combat unit. What a loss. So few. The little loli was obviously a little disappointed. She can only hit 0.03% of Su Qingfeng, isn't she worse than trash? Xue Meng comforted. It doesn't matter. When you reach level 980, you can beat 3 old Sus. Really bro? Real. Xue Meng nodded confidently. If you can't win, I'll help you beat Su Qingfeng first. Shadow 99. The fifth competition ground. As soon as he entered the battlefield, Ye Bai was fully armed. Cain's shield of fire, the power of nature, the sword of the king. Of course, these things are all deceptive and can deceive Su Qingfeng. According to Wang Tianwang, other 9th level war gods would not be so easy to fool. Shadow 10. Opposite Ye Bai, a young man with elegant demeanor and extraordinary talent stood in the sky. I have admired your name for a long time, and I wish you a refreshing breeze. Ye Bai glanced at Lao Su. A martial arts contest is a martial arts contest. How did this guy change his skin? Today is the day when Su is reborn. Su Qingfeng said to himself. I have accumulated materials for many years, combined with my own secret techniques, and asked the top masters to forge equipment. After years of being covered in dust, it's time to remind the abyss again of the fear of being dominated by the wind. After saying that, Su Qingfeng looked at Ye Bai and laughed dumbly. Sorry, I'm just a little bit sad. Ye Bai's voice was hoarse and he said coldly. How long are you going to delay? Although I usually say Su Qingfeng-chen. But only when you really get to the battlefield and face Su Qingfeng can you feel the terror of the god of war. This was Ye Bai's first time facing the 9th level god of war alone. The moment they entered the battlefield, a gust of breeze blew by. Su Qingfeng has actually launched an attack. That breeze couldn't even cause 1 point of damage. However, it has a very important role, to put Su Qingfeng into a fighting state. Su Qingfeng's SS level talent. Never ending, when fighting a single target, every 10 seconds the combat state lasts, the damage caused will be add 10%. This talent is very powerful, but it has an extremely embarrassing point. Once the target is switched, the talent damage bonus resets. In other words, this is a talent that is extremely suitable for dueling. And Su Qingfeng entered the battle state early and activated his talents in advance. The further the damage is stacked, the higher the damage will be. Although Lao Su is weak, he is not a fool. I saw it right. Ye Bai sneered, these guys went to the battlefield, each one more cunning than the other. Brush. Ye Bai drew his sword directly and charged Su Qingfeng. Since he decided to train with Su Qingfeng, he had to test his strength in all aspects. Melee combat is the mage's weakness. Challenge your weaknesses first. Facing the light of the sword, Su Qingfeng retreated instead of advancing, and was not in a hurry to fight Ye Bai in close combat. Wind, fly. In an instant, Su Qingfeng's speed increased several times, leaving an afterimage on the spot. Facing the high displacement wind method, Ye Bai was already prepared. Open the wound. Wind chime puppet. Ye Bai slash landed on a wind chime, but Su Qingfeng easily dodged it. Reach for the stars. Wind's infinite distance. Ye Bai made several attempts, but all failed. Victory belongs to him, Su Qingfeng. On the other hand, he needs to delay time to stack his natural damage. A bolt of lightning struck the sky. This arrow will kill the gods. There are not many situations like this where Su Qingfeng can comfortably stack up his talents. One chased and the other ran. Fortunately, the competition arena was small enough, so Su Qingfeng couldn't escape. In short, Ye Bai also cherishes this fighting experience. Su Qingfeng was not in a hurry. There are really not many 9th level war gods like this who only take beatings without fighting back. Su Qingfeng obviously saw some clues and even made a bold guess. A smile formed on Su Qingfeng's lips, and he seemed to see the light of victory falling on his shoulders. Now, just right. On the one hand, the secret weapon Su Qingfeng prepared was very costly to him. He had to preserve his condition as much as possible so that the power of the last arrow could be fully maximized. When Su Qingfeng fought against enemies in the past, he would either kill the enemy before never-ending could be stacked up, or the target would be forced to change. This guy is not Shadow 10. The movements were completed in one go without any stagnation. An extremely terrifying wind arrow with destructive power tore through the space, ignoring all obstacles, and arrived in front of Ye Bai in an instant. Su Qingfeng looked at his opponent, the legendary Shadow 10. When never-ending is superimposed to 100 layers, the superimposed damage will increase to 20% every 10 seconds, and after that, it can even cause real damage. Knocking an arrow, bending the bow, releasing. Su Qingfeng, dressed in white, suddenly stopped. But that's it? It's so courageous to challenge the 9th level god of war at more than 300 levels. If he continued to stack his talents, the power of the last arrow would be too great, and Su Qingfeng himself would not be able to bear it. Things are changing rapidly on the battlefield, so how can you have so much time to say your lines and act cool? Su Qingfeng's eyes were extremely sharp, he suppressed the excitement in his heart and shouted in a low voice. Even if it is the most powerful seed, if it dares to show its health bar, I will kill it for you. A long bow appeared in Su Qingfeng's palm. He should cherish it. Brush. This is Su Qingfeng's strongest blow in his life. In terms of escaping, Lao Su finally figured it out. Could it be about there? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjaya Old Thief. Chapter 453. Boom. This powerful arrow hit the target. Countless gunpowder smoke filled the air. Su Qingfeng stared nervously ahead, waiting for the final result. Ahem. In the smoke, a hoarse coughing sound could be heard. Ye Bai waved away the smoke and walked out intact. The buckler on Ye Bai's left hand showed no damage. On the buckler, there was only a broken shadow of a black bat. Su Qingfeng's blow just now penetrated Kane's bloodstream directly. In a hurry, Kane forcibly blocked the arrow at the expense of himself. Of course, such brilliant results are the result of many factors. The first is that Su Qingfeng has enough time to accumulate talent damage. Secondly, Kane is not in his prime now, and he doesn't even have his own body. It's still a bit difficult to completely ignore long-range attacks. At last, the trick Su Qingfeng has been planning for so many years does have something to it. If I hadn't bumped into Kane this time. Ye Bai is about to use Qing Tiansheng. Certainly. The more likely result is that Ye Bai wanted to save the world and was defeated on his own initiative. In any case, after the arrow was shot, Ye Bai had a new understanding of Su Qingfeng's strength. Lao Su, isn't that weak after all? After shooting the peak arrow, Su Qingfeng himself consumed a lot of energy. That arrow, in addition to consuming materials, mana, and the eternal sea, also consumed more energy and spirit. With the right time, place, and people, Su Qingfeng knew the identity of his opponent, and his momentum reached its peak, so he shot this god-killing arrow. Ye Bai did not immediately step forward to finish, but looked at Lao Su, who was thoughtful. What is this guy doing in his days? A prompt popped up in front of Ye Bai's eyes. Is there a possibility that he realized something during the battle and is now going to level up? Ye Bai held his chin, thinking. If Lao Su is upgraded, I will make great contributions this time. How much wool should I ask him for when the time comes? Pay off the debt you owe me first. Ye Bai didn't have to wait too long for the 9th level God of War's breakthrough. Su Qingfeng rose from level 980 to level 981 in one breath. Great. Su Qingfeng, who had successfully upgraded, suddenly realized that there were people around him and coughed lightly. Ahem. The wind is a little noisy today. Looking at Shura, Lao Su, who had successfully upgraded, spread his hands. You win. When he broke through just now, he was completely defenseless, and Shura could win at any time. Moreover, that arrow drained Su Qingfeng's energy, and he was unable to continue fighting at this time. It's better to admit defeat readily. Ye Bai glanced at Su Qingfeng, and without saying anything else, he took the lead in exiting the competition field. Outside the competition venue, Xuemeng waited for a long time. Why does it take so long to hit Lao Su? You can't do this. I'll show you the correct way to hit Lao Su. If you blast him, Lao Su will be gone. Su Qingfeng, who had just come out of the competition arena, felt black lines on his head as he listened to the chat between the two people in front of him. That's too much. When I, Su Qingfeng, become the god of war, I will look good with you. As Ye Bai defeated Su Qingfeng, Shadow won 2 games, and Nightmare Legion won 1 game, with a big score of 2:1. While Ye Bai and Xuemeng were chatting, 2 loud noises suddenly came from the second competition ground. Boom! Boom! Ye Bai and Xuemeng looked at it at the same time and saw only 2 large fireworks. Ye Bai. Soon, 2 people walked out of the resurrection point. The young man who blew himself up was extremely excited and said with joy, "Sister, you can't blow yourself up faster than me." The frail Ying Yi sighed and touched Ying Qi's head without saying anything else. This child, it's hard for her to grow up so big. Ye Bai and Xuemeng looked at each other. They never expected that this would be the result. The guy who blew himself up really couldn't beat Yang Yi. But, however, she succeeded in dragging her eldest sister along with her to self-destruct. According to the rules, this is a draw. 2 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw. Yang San, who was letting off steam, looked at the results of the other 4 games and made a mental calculation. Well, I can win. He took a step forward. Seeing Yang 3 making new moves, Yang 4 quickly stopped him. Third Master, don't be tired. Shadow 4 put the book away and consciously walked to the edge of the competition arena to admit defeat. There is no way to win. As a result, the 2 sides ended in a draw at the God of War level competition. Hiss. Ye Bai was not surprised by this result. You guys in this world are all very humane. You said they let it go, it seems like they didn't let it go either. Xuemeng defeated Yang Jiju, Yang San defeated Yang 4, and Shura defeated Su Qingfeng. These were all head-on wins. You said you didn't release the water. Yang Yi can self-destruct with the self-destruction guy. The bad girl at level 989 failed to defeat the second level Yang Yi. The world is wise, the world is wise. So far, after the 4 major games, 80% of Xuemeng's wool has been found. Shadow takes 56% and Nightmare takes 24%. There is one last battle left, the Heavenly God of War. This event is directly related to the 20% wool share. If the Nightmare army can win back a victory here, it can get back 44% of the wool share. In this way, the competition between the 2 sides was fought, but not completely fought. For the sake of the Nightmare Legion's face, this game can only be won, not lost. The most important thing is, except for Yangju, there is no Tongtian God of War in Shadow at all. Who are you going to let fight? Xuemeng was a little curious. Wang Tianwang followed behind them. This 992 level senior was a genuine God of War. Even if Xuemeng wanted to defeat him, it would take a lot of effort. You'll find out when you get to the Eternal Temple. The battle of the Tongtian God of War is limited to the Eternal Temple. The group of people soon arrived at the gate of the Eternal Temple. Wang Tianwang was also curious about what kind of foreign aid Shura invited. Can it be announced now? Wang Tianwang said. When I enter the Eternal Temple, I need to respond to the opponent before I can compete. No problem. Ye Bai said frankly. It's a man named Yingdi, the quasi-god of shadows and theft. Do you know him? Wang Tianwang's face darkened and he said in a muffled voice. I know, I still have some unsettled accounts with him. Hiss. Ye Bai never expected that Shadow Brother would steal Wang Tianwang's things. It's over, I'm going to lose. Xuemeng is a typical person who does not eat at a banquet that is not too big for him. He is doing all he can to make a fire at the side. Although Shadow Brother is level 994, he is no match for Master Wang and will definitely lose. Wang Tianwang snorted coldly and walked into the Eternal Temple aggressively. This battle must be won. In the Eternal Temple, a space was temporarily opened for the 2 quasi-gods to fight. A shadow fell, and Shadow Brother sneaked into the competition space. Wang Tianwang has been waiting for a long time. You little thief, give me back my stick. Ah! Have I ever stolen anything from you? I'm sorry, I've stolen from so many people that sometimes I can't remember them. The Shadow Brother searched for a long time and found Wang Tianwang's weapon, which he returned to its original owner. Now, can we start? Wang Tianwang is ready to fight quickly. Wait a minute. The Shadow Brother opened the space and called. Xiaobai, Xiaobai, where are you? There's a fight coming. Soon, a giant silver-white wolf appeared behind Shadow Brother, roaring upwards to the sky with an astonishing momentum. On the chest of the giant wolf, there is an ugly love mark, which is particularly conspicuous. The shadow brother looked down at the note and read the lines. I am a level 994 quasi-god, and I have a level 990 mount. Is this reasonable? Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 454. After Wang Tianwang left the Eternal Temple, he simply said, I lost. Not a word is said about the course of the battle. As one of the only war gods in the human race, they were defeated by Shadow Brother. This incident immediately caused a sensation among the top bosses. People have speculated how Shura managed to turn defeat into victory for Shadow Brother. Only Xuemeng, the wolf ancestor, seemed to notice something across the Eternal Temple. As expected of you, Shura. Xuemeng sighed, only Shura could do this kind of thing. This world-shaking competition has come to an end. After the competition, according to the previous agreement, 76% of the wool handed over by Xuemeng will be divided into shadows, and the remaining 24% will belong to the Nightmare Legion. Just as Ye Bai was preparing to celebrate the newly harvested wool, Shadow's top 3 traders all appeared in front of him. Ye Bai had an ominous premonition. Fourth Master, good news. Yang Yi said sincerely. From today on, our organization will turn back to Shadow. Second Master Yang echoed. Yes, from now on, I only have loyalty in my heart. Yang San touched his head and smiled. Me too. Obviously, due to the 3 shadows' reckless behavior, they were kicked out by the Nightmare Legion. From Labor Dispatch, I suddenly had a shadow establishment. Ye Bai. After taking a few deep breaths, Ye Bai asked in a deep voice. How much are the salaries of the 3 of them? Yang Si quoted a price that Ye Bai could not accept. His. Seeing that fourth master was about to faint, Yang Si quickly added. The extra money I earned from Xuemeng is still enough to support these 4 men. Ye Bai was anxious. That is to say, after working hard for so long, in the end it was all in vain. Second Master Yang said with sincerity. What you lost was only money, but what you gained were 4 loyal men. Let me slow down. A few minutes later, Ye Bai regained his strength and looked at the top 3 shadows again. You were fired from the Nightmare Legion and didn't receive severance pay. Shadow 1, Shadow 2, Shadow 3. What it is? Forget it, don't worry about it anymore. Ye Bai turned to look at Yang Si and warned seriously. Go through the onboarding procedures for them, with a 6-month internship period, 80% of their monthly salary, and no quarterly bonus. The year-end bonus will be discussed later. Clear. After giving this order, Ye Bai turned back to look at the first 3 shadows. When we go to the abyss this time, things may get quite big. The eyes of the shadows came over, waiting for Shura's instructions. According to their style, when Master Ju is away, they can fish whenever they can. What Ye Bai has to do is to find a way to mobilize the subjective initiative of these guys. This time, everyone shows some real skills. Ye Bai looked at Yang 1, Yang 2, and Yang 3 in turn and stated his conditions. 50 floor, I will help you with that. When it's done, I'll help you clear the Wanwu Pavilion shopping cart. I've already decided on a last name. 3 conditions, 3 shadows. Second Master Yang was anxious, what about me? You are loyal, isn't that enough? Second Master Yang. What fourth master said makes sense. Learned again. Yang 1, bad woman, and Yang 3 exchanged glances, but did not agree immediately. They know one thing very well. When Shura, who has always been stingy, starts to be generous, it can only mean one thing, he is risking his life. You can't risk your life. Risking your life will lead to death. They are the top strong ones in any force. As long as there is no struggle for the strongest, no one can threaten their lives. Shura's current request is to let them place bets and participate in the game between the strongest beings. To a certain extent, the conditions offered by Shura are not enough. Yabai had obviously expected the situation, and said slowly, waiting for Master Ju to come back. Brush. The three people in front of the shadow knelt down on one knee, leaned forward slightly, and said in unison, as you wish. After settling the top three shadows, Yabai exited the Eternal Tower. Third Master Ying returned to the dormitory first. Third Master, I want to go to the Eternal Forest. Yabai did not forget that Xiaoao once told him that before going to the abyss, he should meet his third brother. According to the itinerary, the shadows, Nightmare Legion, etc. will start before 6 o'clock. Even earlier, many shadows had been sent to the abyss. The special training team of the summer camp will gather at 6:15 and set off at 8 o'clock. Yabai needed to finish talking to his third brother before 6:15. Ying-san nodded. Good. One person and one shadow, under the hazy night, came to the depths of the Eternal Forest and under the Eternal Tower. A white cloud fell in front of Yabai. Bai Yun carried Yabai and quickly arrived outside the 99th floor. Familiar tower, familiar night, familiar white clouds. Unfortunately, there is no Yingju eavesdropping now. Yabai bowed slightly. Good evening. Good evening. After saying that, Yabai fell into silence, not knowing what to say further. This time Xiaoao asked him to come. Xiaoao spoke. The teacher lied to you twice. Twice. There are only so few. Yabai was about to ask which 2 times it was. Just listen to Xiaoao continue to say. I can't tell you. This is like saying it in vain. If it were someone else pretending to be the Riddler in front of Yabai, Yabai would directly greet them. Happy. That's okay. On this trip to the abyss, you will encounter the ancestor of the devil. Kill him if you can. With just one word, Xiaoao asked Yabai to kill a suspected level 999 being. Is this task a bit too challenging for cotters? Yabai calculated the cards in his hand and said bravely. Good. As long as his own safety is guaranteed, Yabai is still very courageous. Xiaoao finally said. The teacher will not return, and the abyss of power cannot be opened yet. The time has not yet come. Yabai nodded, understood. As for the so-called time in Xiaoao's words, when exactly is it? The sound of an ancient well without waves and an ethereal voice sounded in his ears. Boom. But. Yabai held his breath and concentrated, preparing for the attack. He had used the immeasurable calamity to defeat the most powerful demon, and the current replica mode was indeed empty. The space slowly healed, Yabai's eyes widened, and he was dumbfounded. Yabai nodded. Use it. Shura is too weak. The sound of footsteps came from within the 99th floor of the Eternal Tower. After Liao finished chatting for a few words, Yabai thought the conversation was over. Xiaoao suddenly spoke again. This is not enough. After thinking about it, Xiaoao emphasized. On the one hand, Yabai's winning method was too tricky. On the other hand, after all, the opponent is only Su Qingfeng. Clear. Replica mode, start. Xiaoao responded, but there was no more movement. This method is a disaster. Only one chance. In other words, the so-called the time has not yet come, translated into human language is. In today's competition, Yabai had just defeated the powerful 9th level war god Su Qingfeng. I saw a black thunder tearing through the space, reaching the abyss, and landing on the head of a powerful being. Opening the abyss of the strongest will not only put pressure on the strongest, but the new generation of strongest seeds also need to have enough self-preservation power. Xiaoao walked to the edge and said. The strongest ready. Did you use up the immeasurable calamity last time? Oh. Although Yebai didn't know clearly, he probably had a guess. This strong man from the desolate clan was overwhelmed by the Black Thunder before he even had time to make any response, and was completely annihilated. Hateful. Following Xiao Ao's instructions, Yebai looked to the west. Look carefully. Look west. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 455. Every time a desolate tribulation is released, a strong person from the desolate tribe will die. No profit leads to no extinction. Reproduction completed. The space has returned to normal. By the time Yebai came to his senses, the white clouds had already fallen. My feet are on the ground, and my IQ has regained the high ground. Hiss. The shock that the desolate disaster had just brought to Yebai could not be described in words. Shadow 3, me too. Yebai helplessly rolled his eyes at Third Master. Third Master, do you still remember what you said before? Ying-san nodded. Remember, give me a name. Not this one. Yebai said seriously. It's about picking up the legs. Ying-san has a string of bone tools hanging on his body, all of which are bones from the demon god. According to Ying-san, there are still 4 pieces left of these bone tools, and he can assemble a skeleton. You said before that you wanted Fenki's leg bone, so I spent money to customize one for you at the Wanwu Pavilion. As he spoke, Yebai took out a calf bone, which was as white as jade. This little leg bone cost Yebai 100,000 God of War meritorious deeds. The demon's bone powder was originally a strategic material. What's more, Yebai also needs bone powder to be reshaped into bones, which is another expense. Yingsan is very practical. What do you plan to exchange this for? He has been following Yebai for a long time and has a very good understanding of his character. Shuro likes to make deals with others and win twice. If there is no win-win situation, Shuro will settle for the second best and be as fair as possible. He would not agree to Shuro's unfair deal. Because the strength gap between the two sides was too big, Shuro could only make a fair deal with Ying-san. This is the deposit. Yebai handed the calf bone to Ying-san and asked tentatively. Kill the ancestor of the devil, and I will finish the payment within 7 days. Ying-san did not pick up the bones, but shook his head. Fourth Master, even if it is to gain friendship, I am willing to do this for you. But, I can't kill the ancestor of demons. Obviously, this outsourcing plan is somewhat beyond Ying-san's capabilities. Yebai did not embarrass Ying-san and continued to ask. Then how far can you do it? Ying-san remained silent. Yebai thought for a while and offered the final price. With your online name, surname, and Fenki's leg bones, how far can you go? Shura's offer can be described as sincere. Ying-san knew it was time to stop. Be good when you get a bargain, otherwise you won't get any good results. Ying-san said truthfully. After breaking through the defense of the demon ancestor, I can knock him back to level 989. Breaking the defense? Does this mean that we still want to continue to shake people? Under the Eternal Tower, Yebai started his own plan to shake people up. It's nice to enjoy the shade under the big tree. I feel confident calling my third brother downstairs to shake people off. Lao Lan, can you contact Dad Lan for me? Thanks. Senior Ji Unsien, it's me, don't hang up the phone. The person Yebai wanted to shake at first was his second brother. Even if there is a strong person who does not waver, why wave the god of war? As expected, this request was ruthlessly rejected by Lan Bangxian. Yebai asked helplessly. Senior Sword Immortal, who can help defeat the demon ancestor? Breaking defense. Lan Bangxian was very disdainful. There is no heavenly king sword, do you need help from others? Hiss. What Daddy Lan said makes sense. However, for the sake of his own life, Yebai still adheres to the principle of shaking people if he can. After all, the opponent is a level 999 being. It would be difficult for Ye Bai to defeat the opponent with just a Heavenly King sword. Ye Bai couldn't help but ponder, is Father Lan trying to blame himself? King Huo Tianwang has a bad mouth, while Father Lan has a weird and yin-yang attitude. In terms of criticizing people, they have figured it out. After failing to shake Father Lan, Ye Bai tried to shake the most powerful being in the sheep pen, Xuemeng. Xuemeng said that he had more important tasks to perform. Moreover, Xuemeng was not completely sure of defeating the demon ancestor. Xuemeng's original words were modest. If I can break his defense, why don't I just kill him? Ye Bai can't refute. After being rejected by two people one after another, Ye Bai did not give up and started shaking people off for the third time. Brother, are you here? Can you help me chop down the level 999 demon ancestor? Goblin brother. He never expected that Shura sent a private message one day about this matter. Zhao Qian asked tentatively. How about asking Sun Li to come? No need to. Not to this extent yet. After rejecting Zhao Qian's kindness, Ye Bai found that he had finished shaking everything he could. This time, I might really have to do it myself. Judging from the situation of shaking people around, this operation should not be underestimated. Perhaps from the perspective of Legion mobilization, it is not as big as the last war between the human race and the Abyss. But the top experts came out in full force, and they were unable to do anything at all. Ye Bai's sheepfold is empty. Is it such a big deal? Putting away the communicator, Ye Bai hurried back to the dormitory accompanied by the dawn light. Students in Area C, assemble under the flag of the Sci-fi Legion. Under a flaming red flag, many people had gathered. Zhao Lin hurried over, looking like he was recovering from a serious illness. Bye Max. After finding Ye Bai, Zhao Lin, who was running all the way, looked pale and had beads of sweat on his forehead. Be safe and hold your stuff. Zhao Lin didn't say much, and forced Ye Bai to have a storage ring, which contained supplies that Zhao Lin didn't use last time. Wiping away a handful of sweat, Zhao Lin grinned and said, I can't go this time. I'll go with you next time. He had just come out of his out-of-body state and was still recovering these days. Moreover, the new talent has not been adapted well, and Zhao Lin's current combat power is not even as strong as before. Ye Bai waved his hand, it's not a big problem. Zhao Lin does not go to the Abyss, to a certain extent, it is a good thing. For Ye Bai, the sentence anything close to the strongest will inevitably lead to disaster still left a lot of psychological shadow on him. Only the disaster of this generation seems to be manifesting itself in another form. Xuemeng felt particularly deeply about this. As for the people around Ye Bai, he had already thought about it. When he reaches the 9th abyss, Ye Bai will find a way to move freely and try not to be with the large army. After entering the abyss, it is no longer the territory of the human race. In many things, if you are not careful, you will make a mistake and regret it forever. You must be fully prepared. For this reason, in addition to the personal protection of Ying San, Ye Bai also kept the idle second master Ying by his side. The guy who self-exploded in Shadow 13 is also near the Skyfire Legion. Counting it all together, there are 5 or 6 gods of war in the shadows around these students in the summer camp in Area C. The number of war gods per capita far exceeds that of other areas, making it very safe. At the same time, the students at the summer camp gathered together. The soldiers of the Skyfire Legion are also making final preparations before the war. I'm not flattering you. I'm fighting at the king level. The only 2 games I won are half of my credit. A circle of audience gathered around Lukingian, listening to him tell the story of Lukingian and the 49 gods of war. 50 of us are really awesome. The Legion commander passed by and did not take down Lukingian's stage. He just glanced at him and everyone immediately returned to work. Lukinjian put on his helmet and mask and glanced back. The little fox and my granddaughter are all in Area C. When I go to the ninth abyss this time, I break through to the god of war, and then go to the little fox for a showdown. His expression will definitely be wonderful. Under the mask, Lukinjian almost smiled crookedly. Time passed by minute, and soon the allotted time came. Report. The Skyfire Legion should have 9,896 people, but 9,892 people actually arrived. Please give instructions. Report. There should be 56 people in the summer camp in Area C, but there are actually 56 people. Please give instructions. 2 square arrays were spread out on the flat ground, and there was a huge cloud. In front of them, an abyss portal slowly rose, with demonic energy pouring out from time to time. A war god led several peak war kings and entered the portal first. After confirming that there was no danger, he sent a signal. Set off. The commander of the Skyfire Legion roared. Target, the ninth abyss. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjaya Old Thief. Chapter 456. According to the plan, the Skyfire Legion successfully entered the ninth abyss. The legions previously stationed in the ninth abyss withdrew simultaneously. This trip to the abyss is not a small fight, but a special training lasting 7 to 15 days. Depending on the camp chosen by the students, the corresponding special training plans are also different. However, the content of the first day is the same, with special training instructors teaching the students to adapt to the abyss. This is the first time for most people to come to a large abyss, and many places are not suitable for them. Throwing them directly onto the battlefield is not special training, it is delivering food to the monsters in the abyss. Yabai was no stranger to the ninth abyss. The last time they participated in the plan to rescue Lan Lao, after escaping from the Suture abyss, Yabai and others landed in the ninth abyss. At that time, there was almost a battle with the ninth demon god. Fortunately, Wilhan arrived in time and stopped the ninth demon with a sword. This was Yabai's rare experience of facing the devil directly. Students in the summer camp, follow my instructions and go to the designated camp to rest first. The first lesson after coming to the abyss, sleep. On the one hand, it is to overcome jet lag and allow the body to adapt to the various conditions of the ninth abyss during sleep. On the other hand, it is also to recharge for the next battle. Once the fighting begins, there may be days and nights without sleep, and sleep is a luxury. Yabai was assigned to a single tent. After entering the tent, Ying-san walked out of the shadows and said in a deep voice. Fourth Master, Yingba wants to see you. Laoba. In Yabai's impression, Yingba is a middle-aged man who doesn't talk much. Let him in. With permission, a shadow filtered in from the bottom of the tent. Cage Peiki appeared, standing on the edge and saluting. Fourth Master, Ninth Master left a bag of tips before he left and said he would open it when you come to the ninth abyss. Tips. Is such Yingju a perfect plan? Yingba handed a red tips bag to Yabai and didn't leave in a hurry. In front of the two figures, Yabai opened the bag of tips. Thief son, you see words like faces. The familiar opening remarks made Yabai take a breath and couldn't help but roll his eyes. Resisting the desire to complain, Yabai continued to look down. When I saw this kid, if I guessed correctly, I was already in the abyss of the strongest. Hiss. Yabai thought about tearing up the bag now. Don't be in a hurry to tear this bag of tips into pieces, there's a secret I haven't told you yet. There is a very high-level undercover agent in the ninth abyss, whose true identity is only known to the strongest man and me. Undercover. Yabai didn't expect that this time the ninth abyss would include a mission, impossible part. The human race's intelligence work has always been done by shadows. The main person in charge of infiltration and reverse infiltration is also Yingju. Because Lord Zhu is irresponsible and has always been in charge of killing and not burying. So the reverse osmosis is pretty good, but the aspect of infiltrating demons is average. Now, Yingju actually told Ye Bai that there was a high-level undercover agent in the ninth abyss. Is there such a good thing? At the end of the brochure, Yingju wrote. The secret code for contacting undercover agents is GGG, GG, GGGG. Looking at a series of G, Ye Bai fell into silence. Master Zhu even made thoughtful notes on the length of the pronunciation. This code is Taiju. Knowing the joint code, a new problem emerged. Why are you looking for an undercover agent? Generally speaking, if you finally arrange a high-level undercover agent with the enemy, you must always maximize its value. Otherwise, all previous efforts will be in vain. Holding the paper in the kit, Ye Bai read it several times to make sure nothing was missed. You told me that you found the undercover agent, and then what? Of course, Ye Bai didn't gain anything. He found that the ink on the last punctuation mark had not yet dried. Ye Bai looked at Yingba and asked in a doubtful tone. Isn't this tip bag just written? Yingpaka gave the answer he had prepared long ago. It's been a southerly day lately, and the humidity is too heavy. Ye Bai. What a fool. Okay, I understand, just go about your business. Ye Bai put away the brocade bag and looked outside the tent. Yingju and Huo Tianwang are connected to the internet again in the abyss of the strongest. Under the eternal tower. Shadow 4 is holding a tablet and chatting across the abyss. Brother Ninth, the recent situation of Shadow is as follows. After finishing the work report, Ying Si coughed twice. Brother Ninth, wake up. Oh, are you done? Yingju yawned and said perfunctorily. You're doing a good job. Our shadow is getting stronger and stronger. We still have good leadership. There was a sneer from the side, and someone seemed to be preparing to activate his passive skill bad mouth. It took quite a long time to connect to the internet this time. Yingju glanced outside and made sure that there was no danger for the time being. Tell me, what kind of work has Thief Sun been doing recently? Xiaoao would definitely not talk to Yingju about these boring things. This topic is not only interesting to Yingju, but also to King Huo Tian. Everyone loves to hear the gossip about the most powerful seeds. Anyway, they are already famous strong men and will not be affected by the era of the strongest. Shadow 4 truthfully reported what Ye Bai had done during this period. Shadow brother actually defeated Xiao Wang. Yingju laughed disdainfully. Some people's apprentices, how come they can't even defeat Shadow disciple? King Huo Tian said coldly. Fourth child, bring a message to Xiao Wang. Before I came out, he didn't reach level 994, so I broke his 2 sticks. Ying Si swallowed and looked extremely helpless. Only King Huo Tian dared to threaten the heavenly god of war like this. Anyway, I didn't arrange for Ying San to protect the thief Sunday. Ying Si shouted several times, but there was no response. Shadow 9 and Shadow 4 have such confidence. Do. I know, they're just demons, aren't they? Yingju spoke with a hint of bitterness. It's just that the internet is disconnected. Let's chat next time. It won't kill anyone if we don't say a few words. Look at how anxious you are. Yingju made a rare gaffe and even cursed. Brother Ninth, you asked Ying San to protect Shuro personally. The effect is indeed good. The mighty abyss. The tablet screen is black and it looks like it is offline. King Huo. Yingju looked at the tablet with a black screen, his face dull. Ying Si breathed a sigh of relief. Fuck, why are you still standing there, get online quickly. Do you know the origin of Ying San? Brother Ninth, is Brother Ninth still there? Are you stupid? Yang Si quickly changed the topic. If the conversation continues, Huo Tianhuang will follow the network cable to beat people. King Huo Tian was fanning the flames and said disdainfully. Why did you suddenly get disconnected? Your grandson is about to die. It is enough to know that these two masters are alive and kicking in the abyss of power. Yang Ju suppressed his anger and roared at King Huo Tian. Reconnect, damn it. Judging from the general trend of humans and demons, Yang San will continue to be honest. Yang San has been honest for many years. The issue is, King Huo Tian was very strange. With their strength, once they adapt to the abyss of power, they will not die even if they risk death. Any questions? Hey. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 457. The Ninth Abyss. The headquarters of the Skyfire Legion. Ye Bai did not rest, but walked out of his tent and wandered within the allowed range. With Mr. Ying by his side, he is safe. Even if he runs in front of the ninth demon god, there is a high probability that there will be no danger. It's a pity that Ye Bai is not a romantic person. This trip to the abyss was different from the past. First of all, Danyan gave an unprecedented 100% probability of survival. Secondly, Xiaoao had promised Ye Bai that his life would be safe during this trip. At last, Ye Bai's own strength has been greatly improved, and he already has the most basic ability to protect himself. To put it bluntly, you still need to be tough when making iron. No big tree can grow in a greenhouse. If the human race wants to give birth to the fourth most powerful person, the real Optimus Pillar, the Dingai Shenzhen, it must be tempered in life and death battles again and again. What Ye Bai has to do is to ensure that he is absolutely safe before going to fight. After walking out of the tent, Ye Bai heard the sound of a sharp weapon breaking through the air. Passing by the small martial arts arena, Huo Tianyi, holding a spear, was practicing diligently. If he chooses this path, he will become truly number one in the world. Huo Tianyi was no stranger to marksmanship. King Huo is proficient in all kinds of weapons. Huo Tianyuking comes from blue and is better than blue. Not bad. Ye Bai nodded slowly, his hands were itchy and wanted to compare with Huo Tianyi. Huo Tian glanced at Ye Bai, put away his spear, turned and left. Why can't you still play? Ye Bai, who failed to make an appointment, continued to transform into a street walker and wander around. While Ye Bai was wandering around, several Legion soldiers stopped one person. Classmate, it is forbidden to go ahead. Ye Bai cast his gaze over. Coincidentally, it was none other than Zhang Yun, who was in the same school as him. Ye Bai's impression of this kid was average. He rarely interacted with him and even beat him up during the school selection. In the last competition between Shadow and Nightmare Legion, Zhang Yun was also invited to be the foreign aide of Nightmare Legion, but finally lost to Huo Tianyi. Ye Bai leaned against the wall and looked at the dispute ahead. Zhang Yun is a little taller and stronger than before. He took out a medal and handed it to the Skyfire Legion general while gesturing with something. This is. Ye Bai frowned slightly, and what Zhang Yun took out was a medal that was blood red and seemed to be surging with waves, very similar to the medal of the Blood Navy Regiment. Old version of the Blood Marine Corps medal. Tanyan gave his own appraisal opinion. Soon, an instructor came to deal with the matter. The instructor checked the Blood Marine Corps medal provided by Zhang Yun, his face changed slightly, he explained a few words to the Skyfire Legion people, and hurriedly left with Zhang Yun, rushing to the headquarters of other legions. Ye Bai was thoughtful and asked. Third Master, which 3 legions are currently stationed in the Ninth Abyss? Yang San answered truthfully. Skyfire, Broken Army, Sea of Blood. Ye Bai continued to ask. When was the medal of the Blood Marine Corps remade? Yang San didn't look through the information and answered directly. After the defeat in the Blood Sea Abyss, the Blood Marine Corps was reorganized and the medals were remade. This is strange. Why does Jong Yun have the old version of the Blood Marine Corps medal in his hand? Is there a possibility? Jong Yun's father is a member of the Blood Navy Regiment. This makes sense. Jong Yun's father died in the Abyss battlefield. Ye Bai heard Zhao Lin say this. A bloody battle. So far, Ye Bai has heard about the Battle of the Sea of Blood many times. Ying Jinghua, the former movie star, is the veteran commander of the Blood Marine Corps. The former leader of the 4th demon cult, Lian Liangan, was the one who helped Xiao Ao successfully capture the 4th demon god. He was the deputy commander of the Blood Marine Corps at that time. Ye Bai originally thought that the gray line of grass and snakes could lie thousands of miles away. This line ends when the 4th demon is caught in a urn. As Jong Yun took out the old medal of the Blood Marine Corps, there were some signs of resurgence. Things seemed to be getting interesting. Ye Bai suddenly remembered another thing. Before Xiao Xiao died, Xiao Ao made an exception and gave him a chance to say a word. Based on Ye Bai's understanding of third brother. At that time, Xiao Ao would never do anything meaningless. And who did Xiao Xiao say his last words to? Jong Yun. Ye Bai raised his eyebrows and realized that things were not simple. TNND, Master Ju is playing tricks on me again, right? Ye Bai said immediately. Third Master, please contact Fourth Master if you are tired and ask him something. Good. A moment later, Ying Si appeared directly in Ye Bai's tent. Fourth brother, sit down. Ye Bai looked at Ying Si and asked curiously. Over there in the Eternal Forest. According to the division of responsibilities within the Shadows, Shadows 4 to 7 are responsible for guarding the Eternal Forest. During non-war times, you can also go on a business trip. Today is the most tense moment for the relationship between the human race and the Abyss. As a strategic location, the Eternal Forest cannot be lost. Shadow 4 explained. The one who got us out. Since it was Xiao Ao who spoke, of course he should follow the third brother's wishes. Ye Bai realized that the third brother had been talking too much recently. I don't know if this is good news or bad news. Go back and ask Master Ju. I have a few things to ask you. After Ye Bai sat down, he said one by one. During the Battle of the Blood Sea, was there anyone named Zhang in the Blood Sea Regiment? Did he enter the Shadow? Where is he now? Shadow 4 pulled out the roster. There are 6 people named Zhang, 4 of them are sleeping, 1 soldier is performing a mission in the 13th Abyss, and a soldier is responsible for protecting the lone wolf. Ye Bai raised his eyebrows. General Zhang. Who is Zhang Yun's father? Before Ying Si could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Ye Bai waving his hand. The top combat power expresses surrender to the 4th Master. Zhang Yun holds the Blood Sea medal and meets with the commander of the Blood Sea Regiment. Yes, gender female, name. Ying Si nodded slightly and wrote down Ye Bai's order. Only Shura dared to say this. He is the successor appointed by Master Ju. Clear. Ye Bai looked at Ying Si and said sincerely. I don't believe what's on paper. The old guy has manipulated these things not once or twice. Zhang Yun revealed that someone from the demon cult had contacted him and promised to let him serve as the leader of the 5th demon cult after the project was completed. Ye Bai took the roster, checked the information on it, and tapped it with his finger. After 4th Master took over Shadow, he first established himself legally. Now that Lan Lao has escaped into the Eternal Tower, Shadow 11 is free to carry out the mission. 4th brother, I have to work hard on you. For a time, the 4th Master's prestige increased, and his orders would naturally be implemented. Go to Shadow Castle and find Zhang Yun's father, Zhang Ziyuan. Shadow 10 rushed to the 9th Abyss and followed Zhang Yun. If there was anything unusual, he would notify me immediately. 4th Master, the latest news. If other shadows have objections, Shadow 1 will talk to them alone. If possible, wake him up, I have something to ask. Remember, Shadow 10's current mission will be taken over by Shadow 11. Then, relying on the shadows to sell food and other items internally, they gained the support of most shadows. The shadows were all convinced of the fourth master. Immediately afterwards, Shura took care of the top 3 shadow masters. A new piece of news was delivered to Ye Bai. Zhang Ziyuan died in the Battle of the Blood Sea and is sleeping in the shadow. Not long after Ye Bai sent Ying Si out. Ye Bai asked directly. As the saying goes, there are 3 things a new official needs to do when taking office. In the competition with the Nightmare Legion, he won by a big score. This is not the person he is looking for. Ye Bai muttered. At this time, Shura, although he didn't do much, the effect of everything he did was extremely good. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 458. Fourth Master, what the Blood Navy Corps reported to us is that they want to take advantage of the situation. Shadow 5 appears in the tent, surrounded by a bone space, controlled by Shadow 3. Shadow 4 was sent by Ye Bai to Shadow Castle to investigate the matter, and Shadow 5 was temporarily responsible for contacting Shura. Use the trick. A gold coin rolled back and forth on Ye Bai's fingertips. What do Tianhuo and Pa Jun mean? According to the rules of the human race, major actions involving this level must be discussed by the 3 Legion commanders. If the 3 Legion commanders have different opinions, special people will be sent to deal with it. Tianhuo refused, and Pa Jun hasn't expressed his position yet. Shadow 5 added. According to the preliminary plan provided by the Blood Marine Corps, we need to open the passage between the 5th Abyss and the 9th Abyss. After the legions under the 5th Demon God pour into the 9th Abyss, we will launch an attack from the 5th and 9th Abyss at the same time. Although this plan is a bit rough, but there is definitely room for maneuver. Only. Yingwu hesitated for a moment, but still expressed his worries. During the opening of the channel, scattered monsters will emerge, which may pose a threat to the summer camp's special training. The reason why the Skyfire Legion commander refused. No need for Yingwu to say much, Ye Bai also understands. Summer Camp Area C is not the only one coming to the 9th Abyss this time. There are more than 200 genius seeds in total, including many monsters with SS-level talents. The stakes were so high that he didn't dare to gamble with these lives. The most important thing is that the commander of the Skyfire army suspects that Shura is among these people. On the other hand, the commander of the Skyfire army did not completely believe Zhang Yun's statement. When it comes to things like demon cult and demon god, one cannot be too cautious. The human race suffered losses not just once or twice. If Zhang Yun makes a false report and really surrenders to the enemy, he is prepared to cooperate with the 5th demon cult inside and outside. It would be too risky to follow this plan. The mantis stalks the cicada, followed by the oriole. The question now is, who is the mantis and who is the oriole? The fog is heavy. Ye Bai looked at Ying San. Third Master, what do you think? Me too. Ying San stopped mid-sentence and touched his head in embarrassment. The 5th demon god has many evil intentions, but his brain is not very good. There are many bad intentions, which means that this plan may really be the work of the 5th demon. I don't know how to use my brain, but I understand everything. Is the risk of Zhang Yun's rebellion big? Ye Bai didn't understand this classmate. Even in this chess game, Zhang Yun is just a pawn. Ye Bai spoke again and looked at Yingwu. Do you have any information on the past leaders of the 5th demon sect? Yes, but the 5th demon cult only has one leader. Yingwu paused and whispered. By him himself. As expected of you, the 5th devil. He can always come up with something new for Ye Bai. Having said this, Ye Bai suddenly understood why the commander of the Blood Marine Corps was willing to implement such a risky plan. The price offered by the fifth demon god was too tempting. If Zhang Yun could really get more information from the fifth demon cult, it would be of infinite value. Before, a group of monsters escaped from the abyss of the strongest, and the demon ancestor was among them. Speaking of this, Ye Bai glanced at Ying San and continued. They are hiding in the abyss, and they must have a place to stay. Based on the previous news, Sun Li went to the second abyss. I guess these powerful monsters should be hiding in the fifth abyss. The gold coins on his fingertips stopped, the fog in front of his eyes dissipated little by little, and the chess game became clear. The fifth demon god wants to bring these monsters to the ninth abyss. No, it should be more than that. If possible, he would like to drag everyone to be buried with him. The fifth demon god is seeking death crazily every day. Brother Ninth has sent back news before. Shadow 5 added. A total of 3 suspected level 999 experts escaped. They were from the Elf tribe, the Desolate tribe, and the Demon tribe. The one from the Desolate tribe is dead. Ye Bai did not continue this topic, but thought about it. Come to the ninth abyss this time and kill the demon ancestor. The passage between the fifth abyss and the ninth abyss must be opened. Listening to Ye Bai talking to himself, Ying Wu asked tentatively. Then we agree to Zhang Yun's plan. Ah! Ye Bai sneered, stood up, shook his head, and said something incomprehensible. Fifth Master, there is an egg-laying rooster in my space. Shadow 5? What does it mean? Would you like some chicken soup for me? It's not his job, he has to do it. Ye Bai shook his head. Since there are rules for decisions between legions, then follow the rules. It's enough for us Shadow to do Shadow's things well. I stretched my hand too long, broke the rules, and looked bad. I'm still young and don't want to die under Juyu's knife. Shadow 5 is silent. In fact, for many years, Shadow has been in a state of herding sheep under the leadership of Yingju. Now that we have a new backbone, we have more thoughts to expand outward and take the initiative to make meritorious deeds. Ye Bai's words not only told Ying Wu, but also told everyone who had the same thoughts as Ying Wu. Just do your job well, that's enough. The sky cannot fall down. What Shadow is good at is protecting lone wolves and spying on intelligence. These are all tactical matters. To truly reach the level of formulating strategies and planning the overall situation, Shadow's vision is not enough. The most important thing is that if Shadow intervenes in this matter, it will break the rules of the past decades. The human race has been fighting against the abyss for hundreds of years, relying on generations of people to sacrifice their lives, and relying on rules and human hearts. No rules, no standards. Ye Bai understands this truth very well, so he never does anything outside the rules. Just when the atmosphere solidified to freezing point, Ying San suddenly spoke. Lao Wu said thank you to Fourth Master for your advice. A word worth $1,000, Lao Wu is willing to use this month's salary to express his gratitude. Ah! Ying Wu looked confused. What? My salary is gone? We are all our own people, why are we talking about this? Just when Ying Wu breathed a sigh of relief, Ye Bai took his hand and said seriously. For the first time, it's cheaper for you and I'll give you a 20% discount. Shadow 5. It took about half an hour after Zhang Yun met with the leader of the Blood Navy. The voting results of the 3 Legion commanders are out. Sui Hai agreed, Tian Huo objected, and Pa Jun abstained. According to the rules, the adjudicator needs to come forward and make a decision. The 3 Legion commanders gathered in the conference room, waiting for the arrival of the adjudicator. Next to the conference room, there is a space of bones, blocking everyone's perception. Ye Bai, Ying Wu, and Ying San silently watched the development of the situation in the bone space. A man wearing a black robe appeared outside the conference room, holding a book in his left hand and resting his right hand on a short blade. There is a scale embroidered on the black robe, and at both ends of the scale are books and daggers. Yingwu introduced in a low voice. The judge, also known as the executioner. If there is any matter that requires temporary decision-making on the Abyss battlefield, the judge will make the decision. After the ruling, all parties must obey it unconditionally. If you have objections to the adjudicator, you can apply for review and complaint after the war. If you resist during the war, the adjudicator has the power to kill you first and then make a final decision. The adjudicators are all strong people, and the weakest arbiter also has a 6th-level war god. Put it this way, the adjudicators are a tough little gang. Moreover, the domineering style of this irritable old man made Ye Bai very suspicious of who founded the arbitrator. The first adjudicator is the most powerful Wuhan. Okay, this is very cool. After entering the conference room, the adjudicator left the conference room within 5 minutes. Ruling result. Execute the Blood Marine Corps plan, cooperate with Zhang Yun and the 5th Demon Sect, and open the passage between the 5th Abyss and the 9th Abyss. Shadow is solely responsible for the safety of the special training students in the summer camp. Yeah, bye, I have a saying about MMP, but I don't know if I should say it or not. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 459. That's unreasonable. In the tent, Ye Bai was furious. You're eating melon on your own head. Before he could intervene in the Legion's affairs, the adjudicator threw a pot at him. Let Shadow protect the safety of the students at this summer camp. How to protect? There are only so many people in the Shadow, 1 carrot, and 1 pit. If it was just a trial in the 9th Abyss, that would be okay. The problem is that this time the passage between the 5th Abyss and the 9th Abyss is opened, there will be a group of monsters from the mighty Abyss. When the time comes, the gods will fight and it will turn into a mess. Shadow can't free his hands at all. Not to mention, Ye Bai still needs to find a chance to kill the ancestor of the devil. 4th Master, calm down. Yingwu said helplessly. The adjudicators are like this. It's useless to reason with them. The first time he interacted with the adjudicator, Ye Bai felt the distinct style of doing things. Anyway, the blame has been thrown, and complaining now will not help. According to the information I learned before, the second brother Wuhan has 2 sets of skins, 2 sets of clothes. One set is a white robe and the other is a black robe. Sword slaves all wear white robes, and judges wear black robes. Interesting. Ye Bai quickly adjusted his mood and asked about things related to the adjudicator. By the way, why is the adjudicator also called the executioner? Yingwu quickly explained. Because the adjudicator, in addition to adjudicating battlefield matters, there is another important task, which is to hunt down the traitors of the demon sect. In the past 100 years, the demonic cult was like the hair in the corner of the room. After being cleaned, there would be a pile again within a few days. There are always people who seek refuge in the demonic cult. People in the demon cult will choose to flee to the abyss after their identities are exposed. With their strength, it is not difficult to gain a foothold in the abyss. These traitors are hunted down by the adjudicator. Okay, I get it. Ye Bai waved his hand and signaled Yingwu to take charge of arranging preparations. On his side, he didn't have much to worry about. As long as nothing happens to Ye Bai, nothing will happen to anyone else. Zhang Yun is the focus of attention. The plan put forward by the Blood Marine Corps focuses on Zhang Yun. If Zhang Yun really rebels, not only will his success be defeated, but the human race will also suffer huge losses. It was precisely because of this that Ye Bai sent Shadow 10 to keep an eye on Zhang Yun and report back all the time. Okay, let's take it one step at a time. After truly entering the 9th Abyss, Ye Bai felt as if gears were starting to turn, driving the entire machine to start. This time, it was a big deal. Don't screw up. The fifth abyss. The banquet in the Demon Emperor's palace was extremely lively, with people drinking and the sound of demons rising. The fifth demon god has wanted to hold a banquet for so many years, and finally succeeded. This banquet is to welcome a special group of guests. Honor death. The fifth demon god picked up the wine glass and drank the red liquid in one gulp, causing countless demons to cheer. To the left and right of the throne of the fifth demon god, there were two people whose presence was not weaker than his. Their bodies were shrouded in black mist, making it difficult to see their appearance. From the dark mist on the left, a clear voice came. The fifth demon god, what we talked about before. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted. How many times have I told you? The fifth demon god put on a serious face and said unhappily. I am the great demon god, not the fifth demon god. A cold snort came from the black mist on the right. Obviously, they were very dissatisfied with the attitude of the fifth demon god. In terms of strength, the two men shrouded in black mist are stronger than the fifth demon. In terms of status, these two people were once the ancestors of a clan, and they were both the top beings in the pyramid. Where have you ever experienced this grievance? Not convinced. The fifth demon god glanced at it and said disdainfully. If you don't obey, just beat me to death. If you have the guts today, beat me to death. If I scream in pain, you are the one who raised me. The two groups of black mist fell into silence. After leaving the supreme abyss, they have been hiding in the fifth abyss. After being trapped in the abyss for many years, they were surprised to find the world has changed. It was originally thought that the abyss had occupied Blue Star and helped the most powerful demon to break the seal. But in fact, abyss was not only pinned to the ground and hammered by the human race. In front of the most powerful person, the demon gods don't even dare to fart. The being who was originally thought to be extremely majestic and at the top of the world, now lives a life of fear and caution, and is more like a grandson than a grandson. That's all. The three of them initially wanted to cooperate with the great demon god, but were kicked out directly. The great demon lying on the ground didn't even look at these three level 999 beings and told them to get out. The great demon god was unwilling to cooperate, so they had no choice but to settle for the second best and cooperate with the fifth demon god. The second demon god is not a native demon god and is not considered. Who knew that the fifth demon god was a lunatic who was not afraid of death? He kept shouting every day that he would beat me to death if he could. Just want to die? If that was all, it would still be bearable. Just this morning, a few hours ago, a thunderbolt suddenly struck down from the fifth abyss, raising one of the three black mists. A level 999 expert from the desolate tribe was promoted just like that. The fifth demon god beat his chest angrily on the spot, pointed at the sky and cursed loudly. He hates it. Why didn't this thunder hit me? The other two groups of black mist were immersed in deep fear and have not yet recovered. This is the first time they have seen the most powerful being take action. How did the abyss become like this? The black mist on the right muttered. Suppressing his anger, he spoke again. Your Majesty the demon god, our request is very simple. Just help us deliver the goods to the strongest seeds. No hurries. The fifth demon glanced back. The cargo in his mouth was a black cage made of unknown materials. The cage blocked out all prying eyes, so there was no way of knowing what was inside. Don't think about it, it's not a good thing anyway. Tell me the truth, can the things inside kill the strongest seeds? The fifth devil drank another glass of wine and let out a sigh of relief. Don't blame me for not warning you. This powerful seed Shura is very afraid of death, and ordinary means cannot deal with him. In terms of saving lives, I would like to call him the strongest. Without the help of the fifth demon god, these monsters from the powerful abyss would be unable to move forward in the abyss. The two groups of black mist briefly exchanged opinions and knew that the fifth demon was not easy to fool. It is impossible to pass this level without coming up with some useful information. The black mist on the left spoke again. In the cage, there is a crazy existence, level 1000, the most powerful person of a certain clan. Black mist on the right said coldly. We cannot manipulate this being. However, the strongest beings are attracted to each other. He will give priority to attacking the most powerful seeds of the human race. That's it? The fifth devil showed a satisfied smile. If that was the case, he was relieved. If he is so strong, he should be able to kill himself, right? Sitting on the throne, the fifth devil's thoughts drifted into the distance. If I die, to whom should I pass the position of the fifth demon god to? Oh, it would be great if my son is still alive. My eldest son, there is a demon god in the family waiting for you to inherit. It doesn't matter if I die. When I die, our family will be in order. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 460. The Ninth Abyss. The students from the summer camp were woken up by a whistle after 8 hours of sleep. Gathering, physical examination, food distribution. After the process is completed, everyone gets their own supporting equipment. Antidote, anti-scalding cream, distress smoke, distress drone, short-distance teleportation scroll. This was Yebai's first time participating in a formal Abyss operation. The last time he came to the Abyss, Master Ju threw a Shadow 10 next to him and let him wander off by himself. Following the Legion's actions, Yebai realized how expensive the war in the Abyss really was. Just the set of things given to Yebai was worth more than hundreds of millions of dragon coins. The three armies have not moved, and the food and grass go first. In war, besides people, money is the only thing. Only with good logistics support can one's combat power be maximized. Yebai glanced around and found that he was still superficial. A person like him with no background. I prefer to choose the basic set issued by the Legion, as long as it can be used. The children from the King of War and God of War families are basically not interested in the things distributed by the Legion, and directly put them into storage rings. The supplies they have equipped themselves, both in quality and quantity, crush these bulk goods. In the Eternal Tower, Krypton Gold can make you stronger. In the Abyss battlefield, Krypton Gold can help you live longer. Becoming stronger is actually not a necessity. The strength is standing still, and you will get used to it after a long time. Look at Su Qingfeng, isn't he living well? But survival is really a necessity. After all, when a person dies, nothing is left. After the equipment was distributed, the instructor announced. After receiving the equipment from the Lone Wolf camp, the warrior class can move freely within 60 kilometers of the garrison base, and the warrior class can move freely within 300 kilometers. The range of free activities on the first day is not too far. 300 kilometers, for the King of War and the God of War, it can be monitored at all times. Warrior level. Yebai lowered his head and glanced at the medal in his hand. In order to disguise his identity, he obtained many Lone Wolf medals in one breath. Star-level warriors, silver-level warriors, bronze-level war kings, bronze-level war gods. Since Yebai defeated Su Qingfeng in a head-to-head fight, it wouldn't be too much to get a God of War medal, right? With so many medals, he is almost becoming a Sunzong. Yebai casually picked up the medal of the general rank, so that he could move within 300 kilometers and adapt to the Ninth Abyss as soon as possible. Just as Yebai was about to set off, a group of people came towards him. Brother Bai, let's form a team together. The eyes of the 4 or 5 people behind Wang Zheng were full of expectation, wanting to team up with Yebai. There are not only S-level talents here, but also 3 SS-level talents, all of whom have passed the warrior level combat prowess test. As for Yebai, They have also admired his name for a long time. If they can work together as a team, the harvest will be greater. Ye Bai waved his hand and refused. No, I prefer to move freely. Faced with Ye Bai's rejection, Wang Zheng still did not give up and said in a low voice. There is a severely damaged War King level monster near the base. We are preparing to form a team. Brother Bai, please think about it again. If you can kill one of the War King level monsters, you can exchange a lot of money for the materials alone. Wang Zheng thought for a while and added. According to the information, it should be a first-order War King's monster. There are 6 of us in total. If everything goes well, Brother Bai, you can share about 200,000 gold coins. 200,000 gold coins, 0.2 God of War merit. Ye Bai reluctantly refused. Forget it, I'll just take a stroll, you go ahead. Disappointment showed on everyone's faces. Sure enough, just like the rumors, Ye Bai was indifferent to fame and fortune, and money had no appeal to him. At the warrior level, it does take a lot of courage to say no to 200,000 gold coins. Although the invitation failed, Wang Zheng was not discouraged. He left a map coordinate and communication number for Ye Bai. If Ye Bai changes his mind, you can contact him at any time. After completing the formalities, Ye Bai passed 3 identity authentications and left the garrison base accompanied by 2 generals from the Sky-Fire Legion. Student Ye Bai can only move within 300 kilometers. The general warned. Pay attention to safety and call for reinforcements immediately if there is any situation. According to previous statistics, the first few abyss explorations of human race seedlings have the highest casualty rate. After this period of time, the growth rate of these seeds of genius will be amazing. Clear. Wearing a robe, Ye Bai bid farewell to the other party and officially embarked on the journey to the 9th abyss. Not long after leaving the base, a dark shadow appeared in front. Huo Tianyi was very dissatisfied. Too slow. He didn't understand what was the use of Ye Bai hiding his identity now. According to Huo Tianyi's idea, he would either disclose his identity directly, or simply disappear and completely escape into the shadows, growing up obscenely. You know shit. Ye Bai gave Huo Tian a glance. There is so much pressure every day. Staying in my comfort zone can help relieve the pressure. Regarding Ye Bai's explanation, Huo Tianyi had only 2 words. He. In order to make the spear in his hand, Huo Tianyi owed a lot of debt. And his creditor was none other than Ye Bai. Before taking action, Ye Bai and Huo Tianyi made a 3-part agreement. I agreed in advance that during this time in the 9th abyss, you will help me attract monsters. In exchange, I will waive 50% of the interest on your debt. Huo Tianyi took a deep breath and said viciously. I want to surrender to the enemy with your head right now. TCH, you're talking like you can beat me. Ye Bai didn't care. Even if he didn't take action, he would still have San Ye, a gold medal bodyguard and all-around thug by his side. What's there to be afraid of? Who dares to kill me? After meeting with Huo Tianyi, the two walked together and followed the guidance of Kenyan and headed straight to the southwest. Once such a number of monsters rush over, even if Huo Tianyi survives at this stage, he will be in great embarrassment. Shura appears in the 9th abyss. What does he want to do? The surname is Ye. Iu. The sound of the drum shook the heaven and earth, and soon spread throughout the entire 9th abyss. Brush. Wait a moment. Run. The being on the highest throne slowly wakes up. A black shadow sprang out at an extremely fast speed, aiming at the leading war god level demon rat, and tapped the staff lightly. The black shadow returned to the place at a faster speed and greeted. With the blessing of being ready to go, the demon rat, who was only a first-level god of war, turned into ashes before he could even realize what was happening. There is a group of rats 5 kilometers ahead. Boom. The poisonous demon rat, the bigger it is, the stronger it is. Their god is awake. Half an hour later, two figures appeared behind a hillside, 1,260 kilometers away from the garrison base. Behind them, hundreds of thousands of demon rats are chasing after them. The moment they heard the sound of the drum, all the 9th level God of War monsters put down everything in their hands and rushed to the Demon King's palace as quickly as possible. A little too much. Boom. Yabai withdrew his gaze and whispered. Huo Tianyi frowned. The two of them had to slow down their pace to avoid being discovered by the monsters and triggering a large-scale beast tide. Go around. The spear thrust out, leaving an afterimage in the air, and a mouse-like monster was nailed to the ground, dead. Thunder. Huo Tianyi activated his passive skills while running for his life. This thunder, Shura is coming. The 9th abyss, inside the Demon Emperor's palace. Here, a war god level monster has appeared. The leader is a war god level demon rat. There are 162 war kings, and more than 100,000 war general level demon rats. When that thunder lights up. Outside the Demon Emperor's palace, a giant drum was beaten. As soon as Huo Tian retracted his spear, flames poured out, burning the monster's corpse and cleaning up the traces.